Night. President Dr. John Magufuli addresses border challenges with Kenya are being addressed. Lorry drivers call on East African community to help address Namanga border crisis caused by COVID-19 restrictions. And in sports, Taifa Stars coach Etienne Nariragije says Tanzanian players fit to resume mainland Premier League. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Khadija Zimbwe. First, the national news. President Dr. John Magufuli of Tanzania and Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya have directed their ministers of transport and regional commissioners from regions along the borders of their respective countries to meet and address challenges which have resulted in banning of cargo lorries from crossing the borders. Addressing residents of Singida while en route from Chato in Geita region to Dodoma, President Magufuli said that he had telephoned President Kenyatta and that the two leaders have agreed to meet and see how they can resolve the problem.
Two days ago, I had a call from Honorable President Kenyatta of Kenya when I was still in Chato. He spoke to me about Corona. Today, I've also spoken with him and we've agreed. You see, there is some conflict at the border. Kenyans are friends of Tanzania. There are Maasais from Kenya and Tanzania, so Aluos, Kurias, etc. So let Corona not be the reason for conflict and misunderstanding. We've agreed that our ministers in charge of transportation and regional heads in Tanzania, meaning the regional commissioner for Mwanza, Mara, Arusha, Kilimanjaro and Tanga, to meet with their Kenyan counterparts at the border so they can discuss and find a solution regarding this matter. We're in need of trade, so is Kenya. So coronavirus must not be the source of conflict. I'm confident that this matter will be resolved.
Mpakani na wenzao wa Kenya wajadili hili swala walimalize.
Lorry drivers stranded at Namanga border between Tanzania and Kenya have urged the East African community to intervene and help resolve problems which are occurring along the border caused by the coronavirus pandemic. The concerns come after the government of Kenya decided to implement tougher restrictions at the border.
Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki kwa tunaiomba ikae chini wapatane tupewe kipimo kimoja.
We're asking the East African community to sit down and agree on one test. This will reduce the amount of time spent here, which is very expensive. They must agree on one method for testing drivers. As things stand, it is costly, perishables end up getting spoiled. Any decision taken must consider the person at the bottom, how such a decision is going to affect him. We know that the government of Kenya has good intentions to trade with Tanzania. So is Tanzania. We are not sure how the two governments and East African community is looking into this issue concerning drivers. This is a group of people that is going through so much. I have some drivers who have been waiting for up to 6 days.
Tanzanians living near the border with Burundi have commented on the peaceful situation in Burundi as citizens of the country go to the polls to vote for a new president, members of parliament and councillors. However, some Burundian nationals at Mnanela border in Buhingwe district, Kigoma region, expressed disappointment as they were not allowed to vote.
For those of us at the border, we can see that things are calm. In the past, if today was the election day, you could see people running for shelter.
Tangu nilikuja jana, tukajifikiri kwamba
to the border, but they refused us entry. They should allow us to enter even if it means we will be under quarantine.
Hilo tumejiandaa kama kawaida mpaka wetu.
Our border has been secured using our law enforcement officers, but there is a tendency to run to Tanzania no matter what the election results are. But this time round, we will not permit it. There is peace in Burundi, so they must therefore stay home and build their country.
Lazima wakimbilie Tanzania.
President of Zanzibar and Chairman of the Revolutionary Council, Dr. Ali Mohammed Shein, has toured the site of construction for a new hospital and directed for construction work to commence immediately. President Shein has assured on availability of funds for the construction project.
Emergency
First department, whereby we will be able to operate too. The second department will be for X-ray, CT scan, MRI, and others. Pathology is next. So we must move quickly. We've started. The government does not have all the money, but we are allowed to borrow and receive aid. We shall take out a loan.
Corona tumeidhibiti. Sivyo tulivyotarajia ingekuwa, sivyo ilivyo leo.
We've brought corona under control. Things are not as others predicted. They are the ones under lockdown, but we're able to move freely.
Tunazungumza kwenye vikao muhimu vya serikali.
Parliament has passed a law on management and development of deep-sea fishing, which include procedures on controlling illegal fishing. Contributing to the debate on the law, some members of Parliament said illegal fishing was
Mheshimiwa Spika, matokeo ya kutungwa kwa sheria hii ni pamoja na
benefits from the making of this law includes increase in trade along the coast as well as revenue from the sea, strengthened regional and international relations because of the reduction in illegal fishing cases. The opposition is proposing that guidelines be followed from the body in charge of natural resources and an evaluation of and new agreement on areas of doubt regarding natural resources.
And residents from Mtinga village in Momba district Songo region have expressed concern on failure of the government to construct a new bridge that will link them with Chindi village after it was destroyed by floods. They say that farmers now have to swim in River Nkana to ferry with crops to the village.
We're facing so much just to transport farm produce, which is very expensive. If you don't have money, then you cannot work. We ask the government to help us. We are forced to carry our own sacks because we don't have the money to pay someone. 4 have been affected, but 2 have been repaired. Unfortunately, the machine broke down and is being fixed, so measures are in place to restore communication.
Na sasa mafundi wapo katika hicho cha Mtinga.
And that is the end of national news. International news follows next. And in international news, Burundians have gone to the polls in a tense presidential vote, with the election commission calling for peaceful vote despite a simmering political violence and coronavirus pandemic. Now, citizens of the country stood in long queues outside polling stations, which opened at 6 a.m. to elect a new president, but also parliamentarians and local councillors.
tunaenda vizuri, hali ni salama, pametulia kabisa.
Elections are going on well peacefully. We are hoping that this harmony will prevail until the end of elections. People should head home immediately after completing the voting exercise and wait for official announcement of the results from Seni. We are urging people to accept results as they come. Kenya has confirmed 66 more cases of the coronavirus in the last 24 hours, bringing the tally to confirmed cases to 1,029. The latest cases are the highest number reported in a day since the first case was reported in March. 64 of the new cases are Kenyan citizens, while 2 are foreign nationals and are from 2,621 samples tested in the country between Tuesday and Wednesday.
Number one is that the number of cases today actually was the highest since the pandemic began, at 66 persons, with 64 of those being Kenyans and 2 of them and 2 others being foreign nationals. We have also continued to see the rise across the counties. The country has put in measures to ensure that the truck drivers are tested on time and prior to their journey and receive a repeat test each 14 days.
Our being here today, as you've heard from the Minister for Health, is really to receive 2 mobile laboratories to enable us to deal with the current crisis.
Today I have the honor to assist in handing over 2 COVID-19 mobile testing labs, which are provided through German support by the East African community to Kenya. This cooperation will reinforce Kenya's testing capacities, as the peer said, and as you know, testing is key to flatten the curve.
Lockdown measures have been imposed on Goma in the Democratic Republic of Congo after 7 new coronavirus cases were confirmed. DRC has reported 1,731 coronavirus cases and 6. Now, moving on in tonight's special report, Capital Television's Vanessa Victor and political correspondent with media partner Deutsche Welle discuss German Chancellor Angela Merkel and French President Emmanuel Macron's €500 billion EU rescue fund proposition to enhance response to the coronavirus crisis.
Conference, German Chancellor Angela Merkel and French President Emmanuel Macron proposed a €500 billion EU rescue fund to enhance the bloc's fiscal response to the coronavirus crisis. Thomas Sparrow, our political correspondent from our media partner Deutsche Welle, joins us now with more on this. So, Thomas.
So those 2 leaders, the French leader and the German leader, have proposed this very significant recovery fund to try and help some of the most affected regions and sectors in Europe that have been affected, obviously, by the coronavirus crisis. The idea is that they would allow the European Commission to borrow that money from the markets in the name of the EU, to then give that money to those sectors and regions that have been affected. This has been described as a particular shift, in particular for Germany. The European Union budget, which is also under discussion now.
So ultimately, what would this mean for Europe and Germany?
Well, Germany obviously it's a very important decision, or at least an important plan. As I say, it's an important shift. The idea of shared debt was a political taboo in this country. You would, under other circumstances, not be able to sell the idea of this recovery plan. Now Angela Merkel, the Chancellor, believes that it's the correct moment to try and sell this plan, but it's important to stress once again that other countries in Europe are against this idea. For example, Austria or Sweden or Denmark or the Netherlands, they have already said that they will present their own proposal, because this idea of issuing shared debt is under no circumstance one that all leaders would agree. And it's important to stress that in order for this to become not only a plan but a reality, it has to be approved by all European Union members.
And what has the reaction been to this proposition thus far?
If you look specifically at the reaction in Germany, it has been mixed. There are those who obviously believe that this is a very important step forward for Germany in particular, because Germany and France are trying to work hand in hand when it comes to all sorts of different European Union projects or even international projects as well. So there are those who view this as a positive sign from Berlin to Paris. On the other hand, there are those who are critical in particular because they believe that in the end Germany, as a very important country in Europe, as an economic powerhouse, could end up having the bill in the end if other countries end up using money from that recovery fund. So they are skeptical of the whole idea. Internationally, I already mentioned that there are countries, in particular Austria, that have said that they're willing to work with other countries together in terms of European solidarity, but that they do not want to do it as a way of grant or in this way, but that they would prefer to do it in loans, and that they will also present some of their own proposals for then to be discussed all together in the EU 27 and the European Commission, which will then have to decide what the best proposal is. Again, it would have to be agreed by all European countries.
So on another note, EU countries are relaxing COVID-induced border controls. How would this play out, and what is the time frame for this? Can you give us a very short insight into that?
That again is one of those European topics that is difficult to organize, because every country in Europe has faced a different reality when it comes to the coronavirus crisis. So it is very difficult to actually coordinate those things at the European Union level. What has happened in practice is that some of the countries have been doing that bilaterally or at least regionally, based on the interests that those countries may have. In the case of Germany, for example, the border with Luxembourg is open. Some of the restrictions have been eased with France, with Switzerland and Austria, and other measures are already in place. But meanwhile, some controls are still in place, and the goal is to have the free movement of people and goods in June, by the 15th of June. And let's not forget that this is one of the key elements of the European Union, an absolutely vital principle, not only for the economies of the different countries, but also for families, students and workers who often cross international borders.
Well, thank you very much, Thomas, for that report. And again, keep staying safe.
Thank you very much.
And that is the end of international news. Business news follows shortly.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
We believe that the driver is the customer.
To change the mindset of traditional HR to the digitalization.
Make sure that everybody can get some access to financial services.
And once we understand the vision of our leaders, we then need to be behind them and help them in achieving that vision.
Business have involved mercantile operations, trade guilds, or shared agricultural production, infrastructure, construction, financial sectors, tourism, and mining. Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
Welcome back, and in business news tonight. The government has called on investors who have registered their projects at Tanzania Investment Center (TIC) to submit challenges they are facing so that they can be addressed and enable them to achieve their production goals, as well as provide employment to Tanzanians. We need to find out what can be done to ensure that our factories have reliable access of raw materials within the country. We are asking for certain raw materials to be banned from exportation because there are factories in the country which are in high demand of them. Markets are there, but we need few more investors to also venture into such kind of production since the demand is high. As Tanzanians join countries around the world in marking Ways and Measures Day, investors and manufacturers have been urged to produce goods that adhere to high quality standards so as to make them competitive in international market.
Katika kuzingatia vipimo,
there are some measures that farmers must consider while farming. Measurements should be considered at all levels in all stages from farming to harvest. Not only that, even once the produce are exported, must be well weighed and measured.
Wakati anapoandaa shamba, anapotumia mbolea, anapokuwa ameshapata yale mazao yake, lazima yapimwe kwa usahihi.
And the number of consumers turning up at Kariakoo Market in Dar es Salaam to buy various items for the Eid al-Fitr celebrations has continued to grow this week. However, some have stopped adhering to coronavirus prevention measures, directives which include wearing face masks and washing hands with a sanitizer and running water. I have the mask, although I am not wearing it. I know it is dangerous since I am at a high traffic area. As a trader, I do not face any problem with my business. Right now, things are back to normal. It looks like spread of coronavirus has slowed down. And that is the end of business news. Sports news follows shortly after this break.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment of going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's going to be dragged through the second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment of going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's going to be dragged through the second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Marquinhos, he did lose to Lendl.
Welcome back, and in sports news. Taifa Stars coach Etienne Nairagije has revealed that teams will need less than a month to prepare and resume mainland Premier League action. Here are more details.
The Tanzanian top flight, which was suspended in March after the government moved to ban public meetings as a way of containing the coronavirus pandemic, could resume anytime this week under instructions from President John Pombe Magufuli. For the second time this month, Magufuli assured Tanzanians he was planning to resume sports activities because the current graph of COVID-19 infections was very encouraging. Reacting to the statement by Magufuli, the Taifa Stars coach has stated he was confident most of the players will not struggle to kick off the season in less than a month.
Yanga Sports Club coach Luke Aimel has said they have to win the FA Cup and earn the right to represent Tanzania in the CAF Confederation Cup to stand a chance of signing the best possible players.
Seven-time league champions are keen on bolstering their squad to have a competitive edge in both the domestic and international competitions. However, the Belgian believes it will not be easy to bring quality players on board if they fail to qualify for the continental football. The 60-year-old has also insisted he will have clauses in the contracts drafted by the team which will push new signings to give their best for the former league champions.
The Premier League has been buoyed in its attempts to complete the season after only 6 of 748 players and staff tested positive for the COVID-19. Here's the story.
The Burnley assistant manager, Ian Warne, was on Tuesday night confirmed as one of the 6. A first round of results from 19 clubs provided welcome news for the league. With the testing system in operation, clubs started to return to training on Tuesday, albeit while observing physical distancing. The low rate of positive results will add heft to the league's attempt to persuade players that theirs is a safe environment in which to return to work. One said by Burnley to be asymptomatic and safe and well at home is the only one of the 6 to test positive who has been named.
Manchester United have urged supporters to stay away from behind closed doors games if the season restarts. Here are more details.
The prospect of crowds gathering has been a significant concern for police amid the coronavirus pandemic, and such messages from clubs are regarded as important if games are to go ahead, particularly without the use of neutral grounds. Today, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's squad returned to training at their Carrington base, where they worked in small groups that are physically distanced. That was permitted by the Premier League from Tuesday, after a vote by the clubs, and the hope is to restart matches in mid-June.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin for tonight. My name is Khadija Zimbo. Thank you for watching and good night.